All right. Practice 4. Practice 4. I thought did something. First time outside. Weather was nice, so we got a chance to get a little bit more room than the indoor, and thought we saw some good stuff, then saw some really ugly stuff. Kind of typical, I guess, spring ball, new systems, and all that. So still learning how to practice. The way we practice. Still learning. Some of the things that I get frustrated if we have to keep correcting the same things over and over again. All coaches get frustrated with that because then I got to move. Can't move on to the next thing to get corrected. But our guys are pretty conscientious and they're working pretty hard.
So, Rich, you said you've seen some good things. So go into that. What have you seen that you've liked so far?
Well, I think for learning, and again, some of the guys, whether they're a new guy transferred in or a guy that was here, it's all new terminology. Every coach has different kind of terminology and some different methods, but the fundamentals are always the same. So I think our guys, but if you haven't played a whole lot, or if you're a young guy, even the fundamentals are going to be new to you. So, we're that's what spring ball is for. We're teaching a lot, but I think they're done a good job of trying to learn as quickly as they can, and we go at a different pace. Offensively, it's a little different pace, so the learning curve is not slow. A lot of coaches will say, teach it slower, and then you can speed it up later, and we do just the opposite. We're going to teach it as fast as we can, and hope it sinks in.
Did you get to see anything different now that you didn't have to worry about a ceiling, like the indoor practice facility?
Well, kicking wise, no, I thought we kicked okay. We didn't do a whole, probably need to put those field goal kickers under a little bit more pressure because we need to see some live field goal. We're doing field goal. We did punt. I actually got to see him punt a little bit, and it was okay. But we got to put our kickers under some pressure sometime this spring.
Is there anything that you've seen that's different within the first week? Over the first week in terms of good, bad?
I got to watch the film. It's like asking this after a game. Hell, just from standing behind there, and I thought there was some good, but there's also some, ugliness too. We're still learning how to run. We don't have a lot of backs, a lot of experience. Jaheim is out right now, and he's got experience, so I'm not worried about him. But the rest of the backs got to learn to run with a little bit more authority. I think Hubbard is doing a good job with that. And the other guys have the capability, but, we don't particularly go to the school where you're going to get hit. Just go ahead and get out of bounds and, save yourself a hit. That's not unless it's a 2-minute drill. That's not how we do it. We got to run with a little more authority.
What do you see from the defense so far?
They're eager. I think none of them played a whole lot, and it's a whole new system. And Zach does a lot. We do a lot on defense, and so there's a lot to learn. I didn't think they practiced well defensively today at all. From what our expectations are for them.
We're gonna talk to Jack Bignell after you. Just talk about your relationship with him and the synergy that the offensive line coach has to have with the play call.
Yeah, it's the offensive line coaches. They're all the coaching positions are important, but that's the position that your technique and your fundamentals have to be on point, right? And I got to work with Jack for a year at Ole Miss. Really respect him as a coach. Great person, outstanding recruiter. Understands ball, and he grew up with his dad and everything. And West Virginia was 5-0 against BC while he was there. So I actually did play against him. That was my senior year, and Jack was the center. So we actually did play against each other. But tickled to have him. And then we got Derek Dressler's assistant O-line coach, who's been with me the last several years at Jack State, that knows our system. So Derek has been a huge plus of helping. Even Joe Jack knows the system, I think, pretty well. That was 6 years ago or something, 5 or 6 years ago. So Derek has been a big help with that as well.
Can you talk a little bit about what you've seen from the offensive line that you like so far, and if there's anything you don't like either. Obviously, I like to focus on the positives.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and get the whole scouting report on every guy, but I think the eagerness to learn, the want to, I think is there. There's not a whole lot of experience, which I'm sure other coaches are saying the same thing. So that's a concern. But I think I'm seeing steps every day where they get a little bit better. And, we got 10 more practices, and then they got all summer workouts and fall camp and all that stuff. So, but I love the attitude. They're a good group of guys. Our athleticism's okay. I think it's not off the charts. I don't know if we have a Zach Frazier right in there, but at the same time, I do think we got some pretty good players up front, and they're all. I think one thing I think they're all eager to get a chance to play a lot because they haven't. None of them have, so that's a good thing.
You mentioned learning how to practice and teaching how you practice. How much has that changed since your first time here, since 5 years ago? Your practice and the way
I think we're a little bit more efficient in how we practice. That was one thing that, if I was to look back of over the last 20, 25 years or whatever of practice, and I've tried to get more efficient, get more done in a 2-hour practice. We like to say we'll get, our practices for an hour and a half, 2 hours, we'll get more done in 2 hours than most teams will in 5. Now, I mean, that's kind of coach speak, but I really do think we try, because the most important time of my day, the most important time of our coaches' days are the time with our players, whether it's in a meeting room or on the field. And I don't want to waste their time. So we got everything we do has to be purposeful. Whether drills we're doing or whatever. I don't like a lot of standing around. We got meeting rooms to sit and talk. We should be moving more, and that we can still get better with that. This is always the first spring's the hardest because it's painful to watch coaches kind of explain things, and we got to do that. But I'd rather just move at a faster tempo. So our practices over the years have gotten better paced to them, I think.
The offensive linemen that you've got, are they capable of handling everything that you want to do right now? Or
Yeah, they can.
get more?
Yeah, we'll fire them and get some new ones. No, we'll just they're capable. The mentally, it's not. I don't. Again, it's probably because it's the same thing I've been calling for 20-some years. I don't think it's as tough mentally as maybe one would think. I think it just sometimes it's harder because there's not a lot of time to think about it because of the pace and the tempo, and so we don't have a lot of plays. I think it's way over. I mean, I think we may have mentioned I think one play last year, Middle Tennessee or something, and Coach Mason said after the game, "Hey, they ran the same play 25 times. And if we had 10 more snaps, we probably would have run it 35 times." You know what I mean? So there's different variations of it. So we try to take I think again coaches try to all be just win a fancy play and outsmart people. It's really what you can execute. So that's what we're trying to find out, what we can execute.
You mentioned the receivers a lot last week and players that are incumbents, Jaheim being one. Rodney Gallagher is another. What can you tell us about him, his progression? This is a pivotal year, whether it was you or Neil still here for his career now.
Yeah, what year's not pivotal though, right?
Right.
I mean, like nowadays, those guys are getting paid coming in and going out, and everywhere in between. So every year is kind of like, it's almost like you say that, it's like every year's, there's a lot of things we need to fix college football, and this open free agency every year is frustrating, but it's almost like every player is on a contract year every year, isn't it not? No, because that's kind of crazy. You see the NFL guys, like in their contract year, all of a sudden they have great years in their contract year, right? Because they want to get paid. And I'm like, well, hell, I guess our guys are on one every year too, right? They're on every year's a contract year. So
meaning that he's this third year at WVU in college.
yeah, I mean he's going to be, and he's got competition. I mean Gerard Bowie and Man Singleton. But I like Rodney. Rodney's a good player and a good athlete. We got other guys. Cam Vaughn transferred in, and Cam knows the system. Jaden Bray, I think he's going to be able to help us. Terrell Williams is going to be able to help us, I think. And we're looking for more. We're thin. That's probably maybe one of the thinnest positions on on the team right now, just bodies. We can't even run 3 full groups of wideouts. So we'll try to address that post spring.
You brought in a lot of experience at DB. I know it's early, but any of those guys maybe surprised you? So
Not really. I mean, and it's kind of, I have to watch the film. We only had 2 days in shorts. I didn't think today we tackled particularly physically well. We only did about 15 minutes alive. And we gave up some stuff, but I don't know if what we gave up was busted coverage because it was a new defense to them or just poor technique. So I got to watch the film.
Rich, back to Rodney real quick. You played a little defense last year. You used Pac-Man there a little bit, but would you consider that? Or?
Oh, the guy was ready, but I don't think if Rodney's playing both ways, then we did a crappy job of filling our defensive back roster up. Because there's enough guys out there we got. So I think he's got to get ready. What I would like for him to do, and all those receivers, I like for him to all learn all 4 receiver positions. We have kind of 2 slot positions and 2 outside positions, and our guys sometimes pigeonhole themselves into playing just outside or playing just slot. And I want all of them to be able to learn all of typically the smaller guys are in the slot, but there's no reason why. Eventually, all the receivers know all 4 positions, and that's what we got to teach them.
you were talking about, the idea that every year is a contract year for guys. Have you seen and do you see a greater sense of urgency from those players? Because, like, if you don't like what you see now, you've got a transfer portal time to fix it.
Yeah, a greater sense from what last year.
Or just
I don't
the
know.
kids, it's like they know. Well, if I don't do well in spring, there's a transfer portal after spring that they can come correct the problem.
Yeah, I think we owed to him to be honest. The thing I told him, I said I don't like the fact that we're going to have to cut guys to get to 105. I think it's a shame that we're doing that. I mean, I know I know the reasons why. But there's going to be guys that get left out without a spot because we're cutting the rosters down right now. I don't know why we can't grandfather clause the guys that are already here. You don't have to cut them to make the roster. They can, they may not have a place to go. So it's not. I don't particularly like that part of it, but that looks like where we're going, and so we're already over the limit. Then we got guys already coming in that are signed, and then we're going to have more guys we need in the portal. So it's not going to be a post spring was not going to be fun because there are going to be guys, as I said, that we would love to keep, and it's right there on the edge, but we can't because of the number.
Rich, the glimpse we got, I just saw something I don't think I've ever seen before. You had your offensive line like way behind the center.
Yeah, I'm just shit. Wait till tomorrow. I might have them in a circle, when you guys go out there, and then now I have him a single file line the next day. Yeah, I ain't gonna give y'all nothing. No, we do certain drills where and if you have drills where, O-line, D-line right next to each other, they're just going to grab and hold each other and hug and kiss. And sometimes the purpose of the drill is to run plays fast, not to have a bunch of fat guys hugging and kissing each other. So we get them out of the way. That's all that was.
Got a pretty good rotation of left-handers. It's kind of an oddity. You thought about that, or is it just the way it happens?
Oh, lefty's a quarterback?
Yeah.
It's you got to think about it when you're making the play calls. We do some sprint outs and bootlegs and stuff like that, and that's always part of, hey, you'd rather bootleg a lefty going left than going right, but they work it going both ways, so it's not a deal. Like somebody asked me, it's like, have you ever is it different coaching a left-hander? No.
Protections, though, right?
What's that?
Protections.
Nah. What's different?
Backside.
What's that?
You're better offensive lineman on the backside.
Shoot, in a shotgun, ain't nothing's backside,
Okay.
right? It's like, unless I stand in a shotgun like this, and catch the ball like that. I know I'm being facetious. Is that a right word, facetious? Is that right, Raquel? She's smarter than me. But no, the truth is, I think going in a shotgun, the answer to your question, going in a gun has changed a little bit what's front side or back side because you're seeing everything. That's one reason why 30 years ago I went in a shotgun because I had a little short. Where's he in? He in here, Jed Drenning? Had a little short Jed Drenning at 5'10", runs a 5'10" 40. But he could throw the piss out of it. But yeah, we'll move Jed back in a shotgun. All of a sudden, hey, I see everything. So anyway, yeah, it's not that from that standpoint. The only difference is with the lefty is when you sprint out or run that way. And We had a pretty good lefty here one time. Yeah, and it's number 7.
How about the spin on the ball? I know wide receivers say sometimes the spin.
Now, yeah, I mean,
Is there
I
anything there?
haven't. You're talking some kinesiology stuff, and I had kinesiology here, but I don't remember a damn thing from that class. And I had great teachers, but no, I don't. No, the spinning. I've heard that before, but I don't. I know it looks pretty, doesn't it? Sometimes a lefty, doesn't sometimes a ball coming off a lefty's hand. Boy, that looks like a pretty spiral, whatever. But no, I don't think. Is our 2 veterans are lefties, which makes it kind of unique. But those guys are in a good battle, and it's hard to sometimes. Rhett's rotating them in on a good rotation and all that kind of stuff. But we've got 6 guys practicing, and we're trying to give everybody a fair amount of reps, and that's hard to do.
Rich, I asked you this when you were here before, but what did you take as a coach? I mean, you see guys seem to be different, but what did you take as a coach and coaching from Don Nehlen?
What did I take from him? Yeah, I think everybody's got to be their own personality. And I played for Coach Nehlen, and then I was a volunteer assistant with Coach. And you can remember what I remember for his. He had a great passion for the game. You could tell that with how much work he put into it, and also probably his. I think he had a really unique ability for the whole staff to feel really important. He made every coach, no matter what role you had, felt really important in what your role was, and that's probably the biggest take I took from Coach. I don't even remember the X's and O's and all that kind of stuff was all different, and we have different personalities. Coach would get on somebody. I can remember he'd get on somebody once in a while. I think he had a crooked finger, and I remember coaches, whenever that crooked finger came out, somebody was in trouble. That part I remember. But we're probably polar opposite personality-wise in how we run practices and stuff like that.
How often did you see that crooked finger?
I saw it out, but I had my defensive back coach had passed, but I had a guy named Bill McConnell, who was might have been next to me, maybe the meanest coach in the history of football. I don't know, but I think he I was called Gonzalez for the first 3 months, and then I was too afraid to correct him there, and then I remember when I came here. I think I told the story. I think I came here as a walk-on. I thought I was going to be a walk-on receiver. They moved me the first day. I was too scared to say anything different. I'm like, hey, at least I got a shot. So they moved me to safety. And I was 15, only because there were 5 guys. If there were six guys, I'd have been 16. But Coach was so hard on him, and he was a great coach. But Coach McConnell was so hard on guys, people were quitting in front of me. So next thing you know, I went from 15 to 14 to 13, and I'm like, if I hanging on, hell, I'm gonna be starting here pretty soon. So, as fate would have it, I got to be second team, and after my first year, and then wind up playing and having no fun. He was maybe the best position coach I had seen in a long, long time. He wasn't good. He was great. And you talk about being in shape. My gosh, we were in shape. So I learned a lot from Bill McConnell, a whole lot about whatever it is, hard edge and mental toughness and working hard and practice habits. And so that was probably my biggest take here was when with Coach McConnell.
Rich, tight ends, you talked about that the other day, but now that you've seen them for 4 practices, give me a little analysis on what you're seeing out of your tight ends.
Yeah, I think fairly athletic, certainly with Jacob Barrett coming in, who we know about. Great Jen Ross is a good athlete. They're having good camps. Big Jackson Marco's got a chance. He's got great size. We haven't done a lot of live with our tight ends. We do a lot of 2 tight end stuff, and so I'm anxious to see how some of those guys block. I mean, Johnny Pascuzzi came from Iowa, so he wasn't used to running a lot of routes, maybe 2 in 2 years. But he's got a chance. I like the room, but I think we're using so many of them now in a different kind of role we're still got to find 4 guys, because we'll play 3 at a time, maybe even 4 at a time at times. And so, but if you have a guy that's big and athletic and you can move him out a little bit in space, all defenses, a coach will tell you that's harder to defend.
So they gotta be block first guys, or did they?
Both.
Receivers?
They got to
as
be a
well?
big. We got to be a big physical guy that can block defensive ends and backers, but they also have to be athletic enough to run routes in space.
I know it's really, really early, but do you have a timeline of when you want the quarterback depth chart to shake out?
Yeah,
Or do you care if it's when
the
it's done,
first
it's done?
game? Who is it?
August 31st?
Do we know that we have a game time yet?
May.
May.
Okay, if the game's at 1, 12:59. I'm just, hell, why would we, right? Battle might be going down there. But we'll know before then. But I'm hoping that we have more than one that's good enough to win with. I like to come out of fall camp, whatever you want to call it, with 3 guys that we can win with. I feel pretty confident that the talent that we have right now, we can have 3 guys that we can win with. But there's still a lot of work to do, and then determining the starter. I don't know. Somebody may separate themselves by the end of spring, but they may not. So I'm not worried.
You won't force the issue.
No, and I don't. Not again. I have a different philosophy that says you got to pick a guy. I just want them all to get good. I want all of them to get good. I want to have 4 guys, 5 guys that can be good enough to win with. So that's kind of my fault. I don't worry about who's rolling in with the 1s or 2s or whatever. We're going to have a constant rotation with all those guys probably throughout the entire summer.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Phil.